welcome back to the EMS On Air podcast. This is the first episode of Season 3 and I'm very excited to get back cranking out the episodes. Our mission is to keep EMS safe, informed, and prepared. The EMS On Air podcast was established in 2020 as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We wanted to provide accurate and up-to-date information to the local, state, and national EMS communities regarding the pandemic. Since then, the EMS On Air podcast has expanded to all topics related to pre-hospital care with a focus on interviewing experts armed with evidence-based knowledge and information that is relevant, interesting, and valuable to the EMS community. During this episode, I'll be giving you a preview of the interviews and discussions we have scheduled for Season 3 of the EMS On Air podcast. I'm Geoff Lassers and I'll be your host. I began my career as a first responder in 2002. Since then, I have earned a depth of experience as a professional firefighter, paramedic, EMS instructor, and even in the hospital as an ED tech. First and foremost, I have been a full-time firefighter, paramedic, and EMS instructor with the West Bloomfield Township Fire Department since 2004. The WBFD is a suburban municipal fire department located in southeast Michigan with approximately 90 firefighter paramedics that respond to approximately 8,000 to 9,000 incidents every year. Like a lot of first responders, I got a few jobs. One of them is with the Oakland County Medical Control Authority as the EMS System Manager. The OCMCA oversees all aspects of EMS protocols and regulations for the 49 EMS agencies and over 3,000 EMS providers in Oakland County, Michigan. In a bit of an oversimplification, the job of a Medical Control Authority, or MCA, is to coordinate the EMS system and establish written care protocols for its EMS agencies, as well as ensure that the physicians, the hospital staff, and the EMS providers are educated on the protocols. I've been with the OCMCA since 2015 and my job includes quality improvement, education, protocol development and deployment, as well as other various administrative functions. In addition, I host and produce a totally separate podcast that is owned by the OCMCA. The MedControl Monthly Podcast is designed for EMS providers in and around Oakland County, Michigan. The EMS On Air podcast, this podcast you're listening to right now, affords me the creative ability to reach the EMS community on the international level, while the MedControl Monthly Podcast allows me to communicate directly with our local EMS community. So far, having both channels of communication have been very effective and fulfilling. My third job, is with a relatively new organization. I'm the Director of Sponsorships for Guardian Education Group, which is a new company dedicated to providing free CAPCE accredited continuing education courses for EMS providers. There will be more information about Guardian Education Group and GuardianCME.com later in the show. Season 3 of the EMS On Air podcast will feature a lot of great interviews and experts that have valuable information for the EMS audience. During Season 2, I spent a lot of time speaking with experts about stroke and the vital role of EMS because the interventional stroke renaissance of the last decade has proven to be valuable to EMS and pre-hospital stroke patients. Currently, the national EMS community has access to revolutionary stroke data and information that could make a big impact on their patients and healthcare systems. Over the last 2 years, there has been a massive shift in the number of EMS systems that are electing to include EMS transport bypass to hospitals with interventional stroke services for select stroke patients. This is a big shift in stroke care for EMS, and there's more and more data and recommendations being published on the matter. For instance, recommendations for regional stroke destination plans in rural, suburban, and urban communities from the Pre-Hospital Stroke Systems of Care Consensus Conference was published in 2021, which gives guidance to EMS systems to establish stroke bypass by stratifying EMS into 3 categories: urban, suburban, and rural. You can find a link to this paper in the episode description. This published work inspired the development of the website stroke.org/stroke transport plans. This site distills the information presented in the paper into a very useful website for any EMS agency or system to consider when they are evolving or fortifying their stroke systems of care. EMS is in dire need of information that helps them identify how to establish a stroke system of care that ensures stroke patients are afforded interventional stroke services when they need it most. In Season 3, we will continue to do our part to strengthen the stroke chain of survival with evidence-based and actionable information directly from stroke experts. My work in stroke has expanded into similar systems of care such as trauma, STEMI, and sepsis. In this season, we'll also include episodes that will give great insight and details regarding establishing and fortifying these systems of care as well. Dr. Samantha Mishra from the EMS for Children program will also be back in Season 3 for several interviews with physicians as well as other pediatric champions and experts. Dr. Sam has been a frequent guest and fan favorite of the EMS On Air podcast since Season 1, and she's back to bring a lot of great content regarding EMS and preparing for pediatric emergencies. Speaking of which, Dr. Sam and her friends from CAPCE will join us in Season 3 to continue our conversations about EMS and managing patients with autism spectrum disorder. CAPCE sensory bags contain items known to comfort and appropriately focus children who are on the autism spectrum, as well as many other children who occasionally find themselves overwhelmed or otherwise impacted by traumatic events. I'm proud to say that I've teamed up with CAPCE to assist them with a lot of great education courses that we will be releasing to the international EMS community real soon. Season 3 will also feature interviews and discussions about one of my new favorite EMS apps, eBridge, made by GD. Where I work, we have recently implemented this new application as a new option for EMS to contact the hospital regarding a patient transport or to obtain online medical direction. Communication technology has come a long way, and it's only getting better and cheaper and more reliable. Instead of trying to stick to traditional communication tech, many EMS agencies and systems like mine are implementing telemedicine applications to support vital communication with the hospital. We all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, so instead of telling the hospital about my patient, why not just send a picture or a video? Why not both? Better yet, why not just fill out a quick transport notification form on an app that's on the same tablet that I'm doing my patient care report? I think you get it. There are several applications like this on the market, but my EMS system has adopted eBridge. This application offers numerous features including live video streaming as well as voice and text communication. It is also capable of EMS tracking with live ETA and specialized STEMI, stroke, trauma, burn, and sepsis functions. There are several applications like this on the market, but my EMS system has adopted eBridge, and I will be investing a lot of time in learning about how this application and many like it are used to improve EMS systems and patient outcomes. In our next episode, I sit down with two skilled process improvement professionals to discuss the strengths and potential roadblocks of integrating a new app to support EMS when notifying the hospital of an incoming STEMI patient. We have a lot of great conversations about EMS telecommunication like this lined up for Season 3. In addition, I'll be introducing our audience to a new tool that is working its way into EMS systems across the nation. LifeFlow is a hand-operated rapid infusion device that allows healthcare providers to deliver blood and fluids quickly and effectively, improving resuscitation of critically ill or injured patients. Season 3 will feature conversations with experts that will put a spotlight on the value of fluid resuscitation in the pre-hospital setting. The data is clear. EMS must adopt a thoughtful approach to fluid resuscitation in critically ill patients, and the EMS On Air podcast has interviews lined up to help. Most everybody is listening to podcasts these days, but have you ever earned EMS continuing education credits while listening to an EMS podcast? Well, what if I told you you could earn free CAPCE credits towards your national registry license or your state EMS license, just for completing EMS podcasts and a quick 10-question quiz. GuardianCME.com is an online learning management system designed for the global EMS community that is 100% free. Guardian Education Group launched GuardianCME.com in December 2021 with the mission of improving the quality of EMS care globally while drastically reducing or eliminating the cost associated with EMS continuing education. Guardian CME strongly believes that a financial obstacle should not stand between an EMS provider and evidence-based, interesting, and relevant information that applies directly to their everyday work life. Guardian CME produces and hosts CAPCE accredited EMS educational content in the form of videos, podcasts, and videocasts that are 100% free to access and complete. There are currently over 100 credit hours available on the site, and new content is released weekly. Guardian CME content always provides professional production value combined with a robust network of high-quality EMS educators. Accessing any Guardian CME course is an easy process. Go to guardiancme.com and create an account. Yeah, it's free. Click on Continuing Education. Then select a course from our growing library. Complete the entire course. Most Guardian CME courses are 30 to 60 minutes long. Students are unable to fast forward through any Guardian CME course. They must complete the entire course to advance to the post-course quiz. Then you'll have unlimited attempts to complete the 10-question post-course quiz with an 80% or better. Upon successful completion, EMS providers can earn credits towards their EMS license in the approved credit category of a particular course. All course completion records are saved under each user's profile indefinitely, and students can download or print any course completion certificate that they have earned. Check out over 75 different podcasts from some of the biggest names in the EMS podcast game and earn EMS CE credits towards your national registry and state EMS license. The EMS 2020 podcast is hosted by two experienced paramedics that discuss real calls run by real responders and pull out the lessons that you won't find in a textbook. This podcast is aimed at paramedic students, seasoned paramedics looking to refresh, or anyone interested in a deeper dive into pre-hospital healthcare. Chris and Spencer are the two hosts of the EMS 2020 podcast, and they are also flight medics on the West Coast. Check out their podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and find them on guardiancme.com to earn EMS CEs for completing their episodes. Also check out the Back to Basics EMS podcast, hosted by Dr. Chris Seitz, an ED physician, and his brother Jason Seitz, a firefighter, paramedic, EMS instructor, and nurse. The Back to Basics EMS podcast is designed to provide the foundations of EMS science and care. They do a great job of making complex medical topics easy to understand and retain for EMS students and newer providers. Guardian CME doesn't just host CAPCE accredited podcasts, they also produce and host high-quality videos. Check out their latest video course, Get Your Priorities Straight. This 30-minute video course highlights the importance and key criteria of a complete EMS patient assessment and how it relates to accurately prioritizing their condition. Visit guardiancme.com for more information. That's going to wrap up the show for today, everybody. This is just the Season 3 preview, and we have a lot of great content in store for you. Please keep emailing your questions, comments, feedback, and episode ideas to the EMS On Air podcast team by email to Geoff, that's Geoff, at emsonair.com. Or check out our website, emsonair.com, for the latest information, podcast episodes, and other details. Follow us on Instagram at EMSOnAir, and please, whatever podcast platform you use, subscribe to our podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Thank you for listening to the EMS On Air podcast. Stay safe and have a great day.